Okay, everybody, hello again, and I'm back. We're going to watch another WWDC22 session, and this time it's going to be use Xcode to develop a multi-platform app. So I'm really excited for this. I'm expecting improvements in basically all directions to make it work, that you can write one code and deploy to all platforms. I already know from the platform state of union that we no longer have to create like an iOS and a macOS target. I'm curious to see what else we have in here. So quick reminder for everybody watching this, if this is the first one and the first watch along, I'm not going to be showing the video or audio, so you have to open it on a second device, but I'm going to count down from 3 and we can click play together, and then we can watch it at the same time. If you don't want to see the watch along and just my notes and reactions, I'll be taking notes, then just go to the, towards more or less the end, a couple of minutes before of this video, and then you should be able to just see my reactions and me going through my notes. All right, so let me prepare everything. Let's go to the developer app. Xcode to develop multi-platform app. Let me quickly download it. Should be pretty quick. Let's turn off the music. Switch to the thumbnail view and go to the start. All right, so I'm counting down. 3, 2, 1, play. Howdy. All right, so that was the session here for use Xcode to develop multi-platform app. Let's get to the notes and summarize basically what we learned here. So to put this into perspective first, they were clear about that this only makes sense in some cases, and that is if you are using either Swift UI or you're basically developing an iOS app with a Mac Catalyst target. So it's basically, I think we can summarize it by just saying if you already have multiple targets, but you have most of your code being reused, then probably this makes sense for you. And now we have the option to basically create a new, you just create this by choosing the new multi-platform target in Xcode 14, and then you will have something that looks like this, where you can select the supported destinations in the general tab here, and you just add the ones you need, and you can add more. So iPhone, iPad, and Mac are added here by default, but you can also add TV, for example, or instead of the normal Mac, you can add Mac Catalyst, for example. Yeah, all these things are possible. Then what's really interesting is they have added, because in some build settings or some things you want to have things to be different per platform, and that is now possible. For example, they showed that you can change the display name, and then if you click this sign here, which is like a small plus icon, you can set up different conditions for different platforms. So for example, for the condition of a different specific platform, you can set different values. For example, for the macOS target and the beta lane, they basically chose this different name, but all others, they just still stay the same. And this way you can also specify, I'm expecting also build settings everywhere inside your build settings. You can also probably conditionalize based on platform. All right, that's, I think, very interesting to know. And this just simplifies it by putting everything into one target and just sharing everything together. Then they went on, if you add new ones, of course, if you add a new destination, of course, you're going to expect that some frameworks probably don't work because they don't support the platform, or just some features, functions, and things like that are not available on the platform. And there are different ways to sort of resolve this. For example, if you had a file, and that's what they showed here, for example, augmented.view in this case, that basically where the whole file doesn't make sense on a specific platform, you can just exclude this from a specific platform by going into here, and instead of always use, you just click here and say just include this in iOS or macOS, for example. So that's how you do it, because you don't have the targets anymore, right? You just have one target, so you need a different place where you can, this basically replaces the checkbox for targets, and now you have like a checkbox here for files to include. Also, they said that if you have like unavailable things, you can use if OS check, and I am in Swift, so you just use the thing needed, for example, here. And they also said you should customize the experience, even if, for example, the number obviously is available on all platforms, but on macOS you have a small pointer device, so you don't need such a big click target, and that means you can make some views smaller. And you do this like they show here. For example, if you have like a computer property that you use in SwiftUI to specify the frame height, for example, you can just conditionalize it in the computer property like this. And they also went on to remind us that some platforms have specific things that you should add. Meow, I'm guessing that's how it's named. Thank you for following, and welcome to the stream. All right, so in some platforms, you have some specific features. For example, a new menu bar extra that makes it really simple to write like menu bar apps, and it can make sense to add that thing specifically. All right, so this is basically the summary, and then they just said that you should optimize for platform experience by utilizing platform features. That's what this means. Refine choices like this, and rely on SwiftUI for best practices. For example, if you were using like padding, you just rely on the platform best practice. For example, on tvOS, the padding will be much higher because you have a much greater canvas. And you should refer to human interface guidelines. Of course, if you don't know about that platform yet, and that's the first time you're using it, you should read the human interface guidelines. And that's one last thing. If you're archiving, there is no combined archiving. So you now have like a combined target, but if you want to archive for macOS, iOS, etc., you still have to archive them separately. So that's basically what they said at the end as well. And that is my summary for this session. And I'm going to be, so if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to like it right now. And if you want to stay here in the stream, I'll be having what's new in App Store Connect next, and right after a short break. So stay around and I'll be back in a couple of minutes.